Week 3, lesson 8. Kind of like the last video, this one has mine filled in, and you may have to pause the video and fill yours in. You're going to be describing some graphs that you end up doing on your graphing calculator, all right? And so over here on the left, you'll see some terms that you may end up using to describe, all right? And over here on the right, you'll see where you can find those things, all right? So you may be looking at the mean, the median, or the mode to describe the center. You may be looking at the range, the max, and the min to find spread, etc. An outlier has a very, very formal definition right here. So again, I highly recommend you looking at that, keeping it in your notes. Some of these shapes look like this. So if it's unimodal, the data might look like that. And I didn't mean to do that in highlighter. Let's erase that and try something different. All right, so unimodal looks like this. Bimodal looks more like this. Multimodal looks like that. All right, and if the data is skewed to one side or the other, it means that all the data sort of leans in one direction. So it may look like this, which is considered to be left skewed, or this, which is considered to be right skewed. All right, so scooting this up. So here we have this histogram of some data. It's 51 fish that were caught, okay? 51 fish, that's kind of important. Let me circle that. All right, and if you add up this, like you'll see that there are 2 fish that were within this length, and there were 5 fish that were within this length, right? If you add up the tops of the bars, it should add up to be 51. So the median class is asking you, where is the middle fish, all right? So if you think about this, 51 divided by 2 is about 26 and a half. So we need to figure out where 26 and a half is. So let's start adding up fish. So this is 2 fish, and this is 3 fish, and this is 5 fish, and this is 7 fish. This is 11. If you add that up, you get 28. So somewhere in here, in this class, between 60 and 70 is the median. Okay, the range is just the high minus the low. This is the high, this is the low. 120 minus 20 is 100. Okay, if I had to talk about this picture and talk about the center, well, I just figured out where the median is. So as far as center, I can say the median is in the 60 to 70 class. If I want to talk about spread, it goes from 20 to 120, right? That's sort of the range. It doesn't appear that there are any outliers. Like there's no weird, funky, like giant bar over here on the far right-hand side anywhere, right? And then as far as the shape, I would consider this thing to be bimodal. All right, now, as far as estimating the mean, and it says we're going to be using the graphing calculator display. All right, that's what the GCD stands for. Okay, you are number 1, and this is really important. You're going to have to clear your memories. 1, clear the memory in your calculator. You'll be able to clear the memory by pushing the buttons second, which tends to be blue, the plus sign, and number 4. And if you hit enter, you'll see on your screen that it says clear all lists. Okay, so it's actually not the memory, it's the lists. Okay, second, you're going to want to enter the mid-interval values in list 1. So list 1 is going to be the mid-interval values. Okay, what that means is up here, since I know this, let me erase some stuff because there's stuff in my way here. Erase. Why aren't you erasing? There we go. Okay, so if I'm looking from 20 to 30, I don't know if I should enter 20 or if I should enter 30. So right in the middle there is 25. That's what I'm going to put in the list. Okay, so the mid-interval values will go in list 1. If you're not sure how to do that, on your calculator, there's a button that says Stat. Push it. Option number 1 is Edit, and you should see list 1, list 2, list 3, list 4, list 5. Okay, you're going to enter all the mid-interval values into list 1. In list 2, you're going to enter the frequencies. That's the height of each of those bars. Okay, so then once you have them all entered, you're going to go back to that Stat menu, hit the right button once, and hit one variable stats. Okay, where it says list, you're going to use list 1. Where it says frequency list, you'll have to type in list 2. The way to do that is to hit that blue button and the number 2. When you go down and you hit calculate, you'll find that the mean for this particular problem is 69.5. Right now, if you're having issues with this, if the calculator is difficult to do, especially when you can't see me doing it or you're just listening to me, ask me during class or ask me during Zoom, and I can try to show you a different way. Okay, let's continue. This is kind of a longer lesson. Okay, so this one is going to ask you to enter all this data, and there are 50 of them. Okay, enter them into your graphic display calculator and generate a histogram. Okay, you might very well have to Google how to generate a histogram on your TI-84. I've done some screenshots here of mine so that you can kind of see what happens when you change different scales. Okay, so this exact same data is shown 4 different ways right here. All right, and that's just sort of to show you how like the media can make data be very misleading, right? These 3 pictures that you're looking at are the exact same data. All right, this one here, sorry, I'm not looking. This one looks very, very multimodal. This looks unimodal. The last one also unimodal. But I would say that the third one, if you look at this last question down here, of the previously, the most accurate and least deceiving, I would say is this one. Okay, you can't, and here's the reason why. You can't take 50 pieces of data and divide it into 4 chunks like this, right? Nor can you make 26 different bars. It's just unrealistic. You have to find a better way to display the data. All right, and then example 3. There's 2 different frequency tables. All right, these are fish that were caught in these 2 particular rivers. So the similarities between these 2 is the class widths, right? We go from 10 to 20 here, 10 to 20 here, 20 to 30 here, 20 to 30, right? It's exactly the same. But the difference is, all right, and it may take you a couple minutes to do this, is there are 400 fish caught in this particular river, but only 200 caught in this river. So these numbers, right, like let's just say this number, this 5 and this 5 don't represent the same thing, because on the left it's 5 fish out of 400, but on the right it's 5 fish out of 200. It's not really the same. So what we're going to do is calculate, if you read down here, right here, you're going to calculate the relative frequencies. That means the percent. So again, I highly recommend you pausing and see if you can figure these out yourself. If not, it's going to magically appear filled in like that. And so now and again, you're going to want to practice this on your calculators. If you use your graphing calculator to draw relative frequency histograms, they should come out looking like this. All right, so you can kind of see this is a better comparison of the data because it's not talking about raw numbers, it's talking about percentages.